Slightly over 10 years ago, I received a call in my home in Durham, North Carolina, from Kerry Kennedy, whom I had never met up till then. And she said that she had created a book where she had interviewed over 50 human rights defenders from around the world, and would I consider the possibility of turning those voices into a play? And I said no, I couldn't, because I was just too busy. I was working on the memoir, I was working on this and that, plays and novels. And she said, could I just send you these interviews and you read them and you tell me what you think? So, of course, I said yes. And I read those interviews. And the next day I called her up and said, yes, let's do this play. I think I know how to do it. I can't say no. I said, in some sense, I have been waiting my whole life to write this play. And the reason why I decided to do this is because those voices were very, very special.
My name is Digna Ochoa. I am a nun who started life as a lawyer. I have always felt anger at the suffering of others. For me, anger is energy. It's a force.
It was not only the fact that there were many famous people like Elie Wiesel and the Dalai Lama and Václav Havel, among them Rigoberta Menchú, people who had won Nobel Prizes and were very well known as human rights activists. But I was particularly taken with the fact that there were so many women and men who were defending human rights around the world for the most diverse causes, and I had never heard of them.
My name is Rana Husseini.
I felt that if I kept silent in jail, then the dictators had won.
I started the first domestic violence hotline in Russia in 1993, almost by accident.
They were voices that came to me. And basically, these voices had a blend of having witnessed violence of a certain sort and having overcome fear, the fear that comes, that is the malignant twin of all violence.
Did it take courage? It took stubbornness. Stubbornness, like a metal cord inside.
These were men and women who had seen ancestral lands be taken away, had seen languages censored, had seen fathers and sons abducted, or mothers refused the possibility of finding where their sons were. And rather than get rid of the fear by hiding, these voices had found courage somehow and had found a way to speak. They had spoken out, and as they had spoken out, they were communicating with one another. In other words, they were becoming more courageous. The more they spoke out, the more they destroyed the silence, the more they fought back against the darkness. And I felt that this was part of my own struggle, what I had seen when I had been forced out into exile from my own Chile, when I had been the witness to terrible crimes against humanity done by the dictatorship then in my country, and that I discovered all over the world when I went into that exile, when I wandered the earth. And so I felt as if the play that I could write would be a play where these voices would interlink in a sort of a cantata of hope, a cascade of different sounds and testimonials, witnesses to both the courage but also the fear.
The phone rang, and the man said, I know who you are. I know your name. I know where you are located. I know where you live.
I know your name, Marina Pisklakova. I know where you live, Marina. My Marina. I am going to kill you, Marina Pisklakova.
And as I wrote, I realized that in fact, this was the way in which I could, somehow, I could find in myself the reason why I had been spared from death during the coup of 1973 against Salvador Allende. The reason why I had wandered the earth in great measure, because it meant that the wisdom that I had accumulated, the talent that I might have, was in the service of those voices, that I was one of those voices, that I was a channel for those and for Kerry Kennedy's own vision of that. So that was my turn to do something for those who had kept me warm, who had in some way, they had inspired me during this period during these very dark years.
My name is Desmond Tutu. I did what I had to do. Anything else would have tasted like ashes. It would have been living a lie.
And if it was my turn to write this and to give courage to others or to transmit that courage, now it's your turn. Take those voices home with you. Take those voices into the office with you. Take them to the schools with you. Take them into the streets with you. You're not that different from those people. You also may be witnessing violence. You also may be full of fear. But courage is as contagious as fear. And silence will never have the last word.
And so we continue, knowing this. Knowing this. If we bring people to their own best hearts, they will respond. That's what you know.
I don't want to pretend I was a hero. I did what I had to do, that's all.
We did what we had to do. The work has just begun.